big news of the day. Kind of expected, though, but now we got the official word. Justin Herbert getting shut down for the remainder of the season. He broke the index finger on his throwing hands. That needed surgery earlier today. So it looks like Easton Stick, who came in for the injured Herbert on Sunday against the Broncos, is expected to start Thursday Night Football this week here in Vegas and the remaining slate ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there was no question that this was going to be the news we heard. I mean, how do you throw the ball with a broken index finger on your right hand? And so, this is now without Herbert. Where do they go? What they don't have a running game to kind of lean on, and they're going to have to do the Tommy DeVito program. Try to run the football a little bit. Try to throw short passes, which everybody knows will be coming, and try to get the ball into playmakers. Run the single wing a little bit. They're going to have to sign a quarterback now. I think they have one on their practice squad. They're going to have to bring one in that they feel comfortable that they could bring up. And so that's going to be another issue. You got to train someone else. Right now, I don't see a quarterback on their practice squad. Right. I'm sure they'll find somebody. But look, that's a tough one, and it's going to expose even more problems that the Chargers have. Their offensive line, their inability to find playmakers. They may get Josh Palmer back. He was listed as completely healthy last week, and they chose not to activate him for that game. They were going to wait another week to make sure he was completely healthy. I think they could have used him against the Broncos.
Well, and you think about all these teams in the AFC with quarterback issues, and for this team with Herbert to have been 5-8 in the situation that they were in, it's just crazy that they weren't able to take advantage of the opportunities that were ahead of them this season. Now, I mean, if you're struggling with Justin Herbert without him, I feel like good luck the rest of the way. And now, if you are the Spanos family, I think this just further cements moving forward because you got Raiders this week, Bills, Broncos, Chiefs. Not going to be an easy slate down the stretch here that you're going to close on a poor note, likely. You did not fire Brandon Staley after the ridiculous way that they lost in the playoffs last year. And so now you're going to figure out what the coaching staff and what the future is going to hold moving forward in Los Angeles.
And a lot of people feel it's an attractive job, and we'll see. I think this is Carolina, who has their eyes set on trying to find an offensive coach for Bryce Young. This job is going to trump any offensive coach that's out there if, in fact, they decide to make the move. They've given Staley enough rope to hang himself. There's no question. He just has yet – look, there's teams that improved through the offseason, Dallas being one of them with their move. San Diego made a move. They didn't improve. He fired Joe Lombardi and, said that the offense wasn't good enough, and it got worse. It really got worse with Kellen Moore. So – that's an issue, and now it's going to come back for Staley. He's going to have to, now he's going to have to pay the price for those moves. And this is a team that I just think they're a little bit, to me, they're overvalued in the market and the perception. They have a quarterback, they've got a couple great receivers, but to me, the offensive line isn't physical enough. There's been no physicality to their team. Defensively, they couldn't stop the run. I think they're kind of good on paper, but they're not good on the field.
I just think that the biggest letdown offensively was for this team bringing in offensive coordinator Kellen Moore and all of the talk about the way that this offense was going to light it up. And obviously that's not been the case. So now when it comes to Thursday Night Football, Easton Stick in there for Justin Herbert. The Chargers recently won a game 6-0 with their quarterback playing, and the Raiders just lost one that was a 3-0 final. So are we just saying hammer the under even though it's indoors, but a total of 33.5? What are we thinking as we approach Thursday Night Football?
I don't know what we're thinking. Look.
What a mess.
Aiden O'Connell, that's what I wrote about today. Nobody knows anything. How do you think about these games? If you told me that Miami was going to lose at home with 14-point lead with under 4 minutes to go, I was like, come on.
Unbelievable.
You sit there and look, let me say this to you on the Miami game. I handicapped that wrong because with Miami only scoring 7 points, I thought they would have a hard time. The Titans would have a hard time stopping them. So, to me, the handicap was wrong, and the result ended up that way, which was probably the right thing. But this game here, Aiden O'Connell went down to Los Angeles in his first start and held the ball and got sacked a bunch of times. But remember, in that game, the Raiders are throwing the ball in the end zone, and it got picked off late in the game when they run sprint right option, and he threw it to, I think it was to Samuel for the interception. So, these two teams have played. It's been a closer game. The Raiders were better offensively then than they are now. They haven't been able to really get anything going since the first game, since the firing of Josh McDaniels. It's been a struggle offensively. I suspect, I don't know if Devontae, we're going to start to hear that he's going to be unhappy because he hasn't gotten the ball or gotten it in the end zone.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that was, at least from what we had heard, excited about Aiden O'Connell stepping in and excited about the change of regime because maybe that was going to get him involved more. He's obviously their top offensive weapon, but we have not seen that nearly to the extent we thought we would. So just seeing the Raiders as a 3-point favorite is fascinating to me, given their struggles.
I mean, you watch that game. I watched that game. I have a vested interest in it. But if I were Antonio Pierce, like, why didn't you go to Garoppolo in that game? Like, when did Aiden O'Connell become the man? Like, when did he become, we're not benching him? Like, at what point during that game didn't you feel like, okay, I need to make a change? I'll go back to O'Connell next week, but, like, you could have won the game if you put Garoppolo in there.
That's a really, really good point, especially with it being such a low-scoring game. Like, it's the lowest-scoring indoor game in NFL history, Michael. Give yourself a shot. Give yourself an opportunity to have a little bit of a spark.
Game.
Yes.
Watch the game. To me, this is what drives me. Nobody's watching the game. They're just playing it based on everybody's head's buried in their sheets.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.